Hi, I'm Margaret, and welcome to Garden School. Well, this morning I was getting ready to make my breakfast BLT, and I thought, you know what, this is a good time to try to save some tomato seeds from these beautiful tomatoes grown by my sister. And she asked me if I would save some of these. This is what she called an Aunt Gertie's German green. And while it looks really odd shaped and odd colored, it has a really lovely taste. And this is ripe. And you can tell by the touch how it yields to a little bit of pressure. So let's save some tomato seeds today. Now this tomato happens to be just a little bit overripe, but the seeds are going to be great. So it might not be best for my sandwich this morning, but we're going to cut it open and we're going to take a look at the seeds and the locular gel that's inside. Great. Okay, so here, these little sections, those are called locules, and those are where the seeds are forming. And this jelly-like stuff, that's gelatinous stuff, is called the locular gel. And it does contain some things that will inhibit germination. So if you just save the seeds with the gel dried on it, that's going to inhibit some germination. So what we're going to do is we're going to ferment this, and that will help get rid of that jelly-like stuff, and then we have better germination with the seeds that we save. So I'm just going to scoop out the seeds and the jelly stuff, take it out of that, off of that outside part. Well, there's lots of that part here inside, and you can see the little seeds here. And we'll do that with this other part here too. Just scoop the seeds out, the seed sections out. Then we're going to put this in a container. So we tried to remove some of the bigger chunks of tomato meat, the flesh, because those big chunks will take a long time to ferment, and I'd kind of like to speed this up a little bit. So you can see the seeds in here and the jelly-like stuff. There are still some little pieces of the meaty part. That's probably okay. We're going to try to get them out, scoop them out without sacrificing too many seeds there. And what we're going to do is put a lid on this and put a label on it, and then we will know that we are saving the seeds from this Aunt Gertie's German green. Now we're going to just let this sit somewhere. It doesn't need to be in the sunlight, so just on the counter or whatever, covered so that the fruit flies aren't attracted to it, for 3 to 5 days or so, and we'll see in a few days what we've got. What should happen is that the locular gel will ferment and it'll start to mold a little bit. So we're going to watch for that, which is just totally fine. That is just decomposing, and that will end up getting rinsed and washed away. It's been a couple days since we started to ferment the locular gel around those tomato seeds. Now, let's take a look. There's some funky stuff going on in here. It's molding for sure. It smells special, let's just put it that way. And you can see, yeah, there's a little bit of mold growing on as the fermentation starts on that locular gel. Okay, our process is working. So it's been a number of days. I'm going to open up my little container here, and wow, the smell of this is very, very yeasty. That's because the yeast organisms that are just in our atmosphere, in our environment, have been fermenting the locular gel around those tomato seeds. Now you can see a few of them are floating, but most of them are down toward the bottom of the container. So I'm going to drain off this liquid. I will just use the lid to try and drain it off, and then rinse again and rinse again, and then I'll come back and we'll take a look at what's next. Now I put it through a sieve. That seemed to be the best way to do it. And you can see that there's still some pieces of that tomato meat. I'm going to try and get rid of that so that I just have the nice seeds remaining without that tomato meat, I guess is what we would call. And this is green because I was using an Aunt Gertie's German green tomato, in which the flesh is green. Great, there are my tomato seeds that I have fermented and I'm going to be saving. Now, one reason to use something like a paper towel or a coffee filter or something is that when these are dry, it will be a lot easier to get them off the paper than off in a ceramic dish or something like that. Just a hint on that. Now, I have another hint for you too. Now, when you are scooping out your seeds and your locular gel from your tomato, if you get too much tomato meat in there, you're going to see in your little container after a few days some gray, fuzzy mold. That is just the tomato flesh molding. It's not the fermentation of the locular gel. So I would say, and this is what I learned here in this process, try to get as little of that tomato flesh in there as possible so that the yeast can work on fermenting the locular gel and cleaning off those tomato seeds. And then you don't have the mold issue to deal with. Two ways to tell what it looks like. It's going to look like mold, and probably a fuzzy mold, perhaps. But the other thing is the smell. When you've got the fermentation going on, you have yeast organisms that are working, and that will smell very different than the moldy smell. So I think this was a good thing to do, and I've got just a couple dozen tomatoes still ripening on my counter, and then that's going to be it. But pretty soon will be the time to plant those tomato seeds that we've saved and start for a new year. I hope you learned a little bit about how to save tomato seeds and that you try it as well. Well, there's always more to learn in the garden. Bye-bye.